This will be an example of how to design public address systems for large outside areas such as prison yards, parking lots, or Little League ball fields. We'll use a car dealership parking lot as an example. The first piece of information you need is the size of the area. You can see this is a 200-foot by 272-foot piece of property. It's 96 feet from the bottom right corner of the property to the front of the new car showroom. And it's 248 feet from the corner of the L-shaped showroom to the far side of the property, to the furthest point from that L-shaped corner. That's 248 feet. Other important information is the new car showroom is 20 feet high, and that it's the tallest structure on the property. The worst case ambient noise level for the parking lot is 81 dB/SPL, and for the purposes of this example, we'll say this car dealership has no light poles to mount any horns to. The first thing I'd like to evaluate is placing a single horn in the L-shaped corner of the showroom, dispersing out into the parking lot. If the horn had a 120-degree dispersion angle, like the Valcom and Clarity horns do, then it would easily cover the entire lot from a corner position. The question would then become, how loud would the horn have to be so that 248 feet in front of it, you'd have 6 decibels over the 81 dB ambient noise level? And if the horn is that loud so that you can get 6 dB over the ambient noise level at 248 feet, will it be too loud for people that are directly in front of the horn? Well, in SoundDesign, we have option H here, which says if the area is blank dB/SPL, how far will the horn sound reach? I think that's what we want to evaluate this situation. So we'll press H and press Enter to scroll through the first few screens. Again, the horn is 20 feet high. It's an 81 dB/SPL ambient noise level. We want no more than 26.86 dB over the ambient, which will result in no more than 20.86 dB over the ambient at the dispersion angle. And what that means is that we want to design so the horn won't be too loud to people that are in close proximity to it. And we want no less than 6 decibels over the ambient, and this is for voice paging. What the program has determined is the maximum volume that you can turn this horn up to and stay within the 26.86 dB/SPL over the ambient is 119.3406 dB/SPL at 4 feet. If you're turning up any higher than that, then you'll have more than 26.86 dB over the ambient directly below the horn. So what I'll do is I'll enter in the maximum value, 119.34. And the program has determined that with the horn adjusted to that level and mounted 20 feet high, that you end up with 6 dB over the ambient at 164.91 feet in front of the horn. Again, if you have the horn turned up to that highest value, 164.91 feet directly in front of the horn, horizontally in front of the horn, you'll have 87 dB/SPL, which indeed is 6 dB/SPL over our ambient. Unfortunately, that's not far enough. 164 feet falls somewhat short of the 248 feet that we need to reach. So the next question would be, well, if we did turn the horn up to the 119.34 dB/SPL at 4 feet, what would the sound level be at 248 feet in front of the horn? And we can evaluate that also. We'll get out of this section of the program. And if you'll notice, option G here says, what's the dB/SPL at 4 feet? I press G, and I put in the reference dB/SPL of 119.34, and the horn's 20 feet high. And I want to know what's the dB/SPL at 248 feet in front of the horn, so I press B, and I put 248 feet. And you see that 248 feet in front of that horn, it would be 83.47 dB/SPL. Well, that's only 2.47 dB/SPL above our ambient noise level, so that wouldn't be suitable. So back to looking at our dimensions, suppose we put a couple of horns on the front of the new car showroom and have them disperse to the left here. Well, let's see, if the whole length of the property is 272 feet and the distance from the corner of the property to the front of the car showroom is 96 feet, that means that we have 176 feet from the front of the new car showroom to the far left of the parking lot. So if we put horns on the front of the new car showroom and we turn them up to our 119.34 dB SPL at 4 feet. Then 176 feet in front of those, what would the sound level be? In other words, if we mounted the horns so that they're dispersing from the front of the showroom, over to the far side of the property, that's 176 feet. And we've already determined that the maximum those horns can be turned up to is 119.34. And so what we want to know is, what's 119.34 minus the loss along 176 feet? Well, back to SoundDesign, option G. And then once again I put in my 119.34 dB SPL at 4 feet and a 20-foot mounting height. And this time I press B, and I want to know what's the sound level from that horn 176 feet in front of it. You see right here that the sound level would be 86.43. Well, we were shooting for 87, which was 6 dB over the ambient, but this is going to be 5.43 dB above the ambient and would be suitable for our application. So, mounting horns in front of the new car showroom and having them disperse into the 176-foot distance and turning them up to 119.34 dB SPL at 4 feet will give the desired results. So the horns would be spaced something like that.